Israel. Va'ani tefilati lecha Adonai ratzon Elohim berol chastecha aneni bemet yishecha ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Yisrael ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Yisrael.
Just make sure you've got a book which says Shabbat on the side, okay? There's a couple of really sneaky weekday festival books which make their way into the pack and disguise themselves as Shabbat books.
They do indeed.
Yeah, sneaky little things. I want to bring Seth Ruskin forward, make a few announcements about stuff that's coming up. Seth, tell us some good stuff. Okay. That's the one.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you to everybody who's here today. Express our thanks to Rabbi Malcolm and Cantor Jen, and of course the tech team who is doing a great job, and all the facilities people who make today's event possible. We're just 2 weeks away from Hanukkah Pajamaka and Shabbat evening services. Come dressed in your favorite pajamas, light the menorah with us, and celebrate Shabbat in the glow of Hanukkah. Services begin Friday, December 27th at 6:30 in the Reuben Sanctuary, and with streaming. Before services, be sure to join us at 5:45 for our congregational Hanukkah dinner, Lat Kabar. Make sure to register. There are some new JLL project classes coming to Kolamit. Please see the website for all the details. On behalf of the clergy, the staff, and the Board of Trustees, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Seth. I know that WKA wanted to give everyone a heads up about their virtual tour for the Mazon Hunger Museum, so you can actually have a private tour with someone, even though it's virtual, you're not going to be there, but an expert will guide you around that, so that should be really great. 22nd of December.
I have one more add-on. Speaking of Hanukkah Pajamaka, you mentioned wear your favorite pajamas. I would like to add ugly and not so ugly Hanukkah sweaters, also welcome.
That covers that base, that's nice, yeah. So we're going to sing a blessing, a song for the body. We don't have the words up here, but there's a bit that you can fasten into.
Okay, so we go, whoa. You might be familiar. We've done it a few weeks now. Ready? Everybody try that. Whoa. And now you can stay on that note, or you can go up a third to whoa. Fabulous. Or you can stay on that note, or you can go up another third to whoa. Now stay on any of those three notes that we just did, or go up to the octave. Whoa. Great job. Okay, let's pick apart. Whoa, with harmonies. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I thank you for my life. I thank you for my life. Body and soul. Body and soul. Help me realize I am beautiful and whole. Help me realize I am beautiful and whole. I'm the perfect the way that I am, and a little broken too. I'm perfect the way I as a gift I give to you. I will live each day as a gift I give to you. Whoa. Thank you for my life. I thank you for my life, body and soul, body and soul. Help me realize I'm beautiful and whole. Help me realize I am beautiful and whole. I'm perfect the way I am and a little broken too. I'm perfect the way I am and a little broken too. I will live each day as a gift I give to you. I will live each day as a gift I give to you. Whoa. Baruch atah Adonai. Baruch atah Adonai. Rofei chol basar umafli la'asot. Rofei chol basar umafli la'asot. Baruch atah Adonai. Baruch atah Adonai. Rofei chol basar umafli la'asot. Rofei chol basar umafli la'asot. Whoa.
All the time it remains within me, I'm thankful for its thirst for compassion and justice. Let my eyes behold the beauty of all creatures. Let my hands know the privilege of righteous deeds. Baruch atah Adonai, asher bi'adon nefesh kol chai, v'ruach kol b'sar ish. 80 for the morning.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lasech vivina, lehavchin ben yom uvein laila. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, zokev kefufim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, rokah haaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamechin mitzadei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish harumim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten laya'ef koach. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamavir sheina me'enai, utnuma me'afapai. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tzelem Elohim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani bat chorin. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, שעשני ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, עוזר ישראל בגבורה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, עוטר ישראל בתפארה. ברוך שעמד והיה העולם, ברוך הוא, ברוך עושה בראשית, ברוך אומר ועושה, ברוך גוזר מקיים, ברוך מרחם על הארץ, ברוך מרחם על הבריות, ברוך משלם שכר טוב לרעב, ברוך חי לעד וקיים לנצח, ברוך פודה ומציל, ברוך שמו. יחיד חי העולמים, מלך משובח ומבואר עדי עד שמו הגדול, ברוך אתה אדוני, מלך מהולל בתשבחות. אשרי יושבי ביתך, עודי הללוכה סלע. תהילה לדוד, ארומים אלוהי המלך, וברכה שמך לעולם ועד. גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, ולגדולתו אין חקר. הדר כבוד הודיך, ודברי נפלאותיך עשיך. זכר רב טובך יביעו, וצדקתך ירננו. טוב אדוני לכל, ורחמיו על כל מעשיו. כבוד מלכותך יאמרו, וגבורתך ידברו. מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים, וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. עיני כל אליך יסברו, ואתה נותן להם את אוכלם בעיתו. צדיק אדוני בכל דרכיו, וחסיד בכל מעשיו. רצון ידיו יעשה, ואת שבתם ישמע ויושיעם. תהילת אדוני ידבר פי, ויברך כל בשר, שם קודשו לעולם ועד. ואנחנו נברך יה, מעתה ועד עולם. הללויה. הללויה בקודשו, הללויה ברכיה עוזו, הללויה בגבורותיו, הללויה כרוב גודלו, כל הנשמה תהללויה, הללויה, הללויה, כל הנשמה תהללויה, הללויה, 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 בתיך שופר, הללויה, בנבל וכינור, הללויה, בצות ומחול, הללויה, במינים ועוגב, כל הנשמה תהללויה, הללויה, הללויה, כל הנשמה תהלליה, הללויה, 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 תצלצלי שמה, הללויה, תצלצלי תרועה, כל הנשמה תהלליה, הללויה, הללויה, כל הנשמה תהלליה, הללויה, הללויה, כל הנשמה תהלליה, הללויה, הללויה. נשמת כל חי, תברך את שמך אדוני אלוהינו. Middle of page 104. Shochein ad marom v'kadosh shemo v'chatuv radanu tzadikim baronai v'yesharim navat tehila b'fi yesharim titala uv'divrei tzadikim titvarach uv'yashon chasidim titramach בקרב קדושים תתקדש, ובמקהלות רבבות עמך בית ישראל, ברינה יתפאר שמך מלכנו בכל דור ודור. ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו, האל המלך הגדול והקדוש, בשמיים ובארץ, כי לך נאה אדוני אלוהינו, ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, שירו שבחה, הלל וזמרה, עוז וממשלה נצח, גדולה וגבורה, תהילה ותפארת, קדושה ומלכות, ברכות והודות, מעתה ועד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני, אל מלכותו בתשבחות, אל ההודעות אדון הנפלאות, הבוחר בשירי זמרה, מלך אל חי העולמים. יקדש שמי רבה, ויעמד יברך חירותי, וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון ויומכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל. בגלו בזמן קריב, ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תשבחתו ונחימתה, תמירן בעלמה, ויאמרו אמן. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach leolam vaed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach leolam vaed.
Page 110, in praise of God's creation, we're going to concentrate on the first 4 lines.
So this is a round. We've gone through this a few times. If this is new to you, and if this is not new to you, please join along. So it goes like this. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu. Let's try that. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Melech haolam. Yotzer or uvorei choshech. Yotzer or uvorei choshech. Osei shalom uvorei et hakol. Osei shalom uvorei et hakol. Good body movements, Rabbi. Okay, we're going to do it a few times. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Yotzer or uvorei choshech. Osei shalom uvorei et hakol. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Yotzer or uvorei choshech. Osei shalom uvorei et hakol. Fabulous. So now we're going to do it in a round. I'm going to lead this side of the room, and Rabbi is going to lead that side of the room. Rabbi, you'll start. Here we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Yotzer or uvorei choshech. Osei shalom uvorei et hakol. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Yotzer or uvorei choshech. Osei shalom uvorei et hakol. Beautiful.
In the middle of 111, you are praised. Oh no, in the middle of 113, love your neighbor as yourself, you said. And like blinded, we saw that
Inner and outer worlds are one.
as
You are one. You spoke and we wrote. Reach for down the centuries. Your light moving between
time fell back
and climbed again. Your Sinai of light. Baruch atah Adonai, abocher be'amo Yisrael, be'ahava. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Malchuto, Leolam Vaed.
16 for the Vavta, please. Be seated if it is your custom.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
121. Emet, there is no place where you are not. Even in the wilderness there is your word. Emet, that pen strokes of lightning, white fire, black flame, stir the soul's passion, guide our sacred way. True and enduring is Torah. Your truth for us is certain and established now and forevermore. Like Moses, Miriam, and all Israel, we sing out and rejoice. 122, Micha Mocha.
Yain
La, 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 la. La, 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 la.
ya la 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 ya la la la.
Mikamo Baba Elim Adonai, Mikamo Kanem Baba Kodesh, Torah Tehillah, Otefele, Torah Tehillah, Otefele.
שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים לשמך היום יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו
Adonai Imlok Le'olam Va'ed. Adonai Imlok Le'olam Va'ed.
Yai
La 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 la.
Yai Shmud Yisrael, Huma be'ezrat Yisrael, Ufedei Umecha, Yehuda ve'Yisrael, Go aleinu, Adonai tzvaot shemo, Kedosh Yisrael, Baruch atah Adonai, Ga Yisrael.
24, please rise.
Adonai,
Sefatai tiftach, ufi agita ilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise.
Baruch
Baruch atah Adonai,
Eloheinu, Elohei Avotinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, גומר חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומציל אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בגבורות, ומי דומה לו, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב היה נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר, אדירנו, אדוני, אדוננו, אדיר, שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו ומלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נגיד כל לך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נגיד כל לך. ולנצח נצחים, קדושת נקדיש, קדושת נקדיש. לשבח אלוהינו, מפינו לא ימוש, לעולם, לעולם ועד. לדור ודור, דור ודור, לדור ודור, דור ודור, לדור ודור, נגיד כל לך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נגיד כל לך. ולנצח נצחים, קדושת נקדיש, קדושת נקדיש. לשבח אלוהינו, מפינו לא ימוש, לעולם לעולם ועד.
Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
Take a seat. 132 at the top of the page. Those who keep Shabbat by calling it a delight will rejoice in your realm. Yismachu.
ישמחו במלכותך,
ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי שבת
בכל עונג, עונג שבת.
ישמחו במלכותך, ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי שבת בקורא עונג, עונג שבת.
שבי שבת, כולם יחיו ויצנגו מטובך שבת.
ישמחו במלכותך, ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי שבת וקורא עונג, עונג שבת.
רצית בו וקידשתו שבת, לילות ימים אותו זרעת שבת.
ישמחו במלכותך, ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי שבת וקורא עונג, עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי שבת וקורא עונג, עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי שבת וקורא עונג, עונג שבת.
Choir. That was not your regular Yismachu. That was like, take a moment for ourselves.
Shalom Aleinu Ve'ako Yisrael Ve'ako Yoshvei Tevel Ve'imru Amen. La 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 ya la 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 ya la ya la la ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 Oseh Shalom b'Rama Hu yaseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'ako Yisrael Ve'ako Yoshvei Tevel Ve'imru Amen. Ya la 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 ya la ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la ya la la ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 Oseh Shalom b'Rama Hu yaseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'ako Yisrael Ve'ako Yoshvei Tevel Ve'imru Torah service on 244. Julian and Nathan, put your books down, get the ark. Daphne, you're going to help me with the scroll. 244, will everyone please rise?
Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai ve'ein k'ma'asecha malechutecha malchut kol olamim u'mimshaltecha bechol dor v'dor Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai imelo le'olam v'ed Adonai ozel mo'itein Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom Avarachamim Heitiv avirtzoncha Ei Zion Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim Ki vecho levad batachnu Melech Elam v'nisa Adon olamim Ki mitzion teitzei Torah Ki mitzion teitzei Torah U'devar Adonai mirushalayim Baruch shenatan Torah Torah Baruch shenatan Torah Torah Uvenal Israel Oof Kedushato Woo Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai גדול אדוני איתי, ונרו ממה שמו יחדיו. לך אדוני הגדולה והגבורה והתפארת והנצח וההוד, כי כל בשמיים ובארץ, כי כל בשמיים ובארץ, לך אדוני הממלכה ויבלי נעשה לכל אנוש. לא יישא גוי אל גוי חרב, לא ילמדו עוד מלחמה. לא יישא גוי אל גוי חרב, לא ילמדו עוד מלחמה. לא יישא גוי אל גוי חרב, לא ילמדו עוד מלחמה. לא יישא גוי אל גוי חרב, לא ילמדו עוד מלחמה. לא יישא גוי אל גוי חרב, לא ילמדו עוד מלחמה. יישא גוי אל גוי חרב, לא ילמדו עוד מלחמה. לא יישא גוי אל גוי חרב, לא ילמדו עוד מלחמה. לא יישא גוי אל גוי חרב, לא ילמדו עוד מלחמה. Please be seated.
So if we turn for our section from the Torah to page 221 in our Chumashim, they were outside on the cart, but they were kind of just off to the side. So lean over to your neighbor if you need to. Page 221, we're going from the last, I don't know if it's the last verse of the chapter, chapter 32 of Genesis, and we're going verses 28 through 30. So these few weeks we're reading less Torah so that we can study more Torah. All right, that's the equation, because remember we're studying personalities of the rabbis from the Talmud. So to give a bit more space to that, we're reading slightly less Torah, but Torah will be mentioned in a different context using a different mechanism. So you'll be able to see that the request from Jacob to the, is it a man, is it his brother, is it his conscience, is it his dark side, for a blessing, and of course his name is changed to Israel. I'm going to I'm going to bring up Judy Manolis to bless the Torah. Tamod, Tamod Yudit Bat Leiza Menucha Lichvara Torah.
Again, page 221, verse 28.
Baruch Adonai Barach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Barach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam, Asher b'chabanu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Amen. Vayomer elav ma shemecha, vayomer Yaakov, vayomer lo Yaakov yameod shimcha, ki im Yisrael, ki sarita, im Elohim, ve'im anashim ve'tuchal.
Vayisha Yaakov, Vayomer Hagida na shemecha, Vayomer lama ze tishal lishmi, Vivarech oto sham.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah demet v'chayei olam natah b'tuchenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Misha Baruch Avotenu v'Motenu Yivarech et Yehudi Lezo Menucha Sha'ata Yom Lechora Makom Lechora Torah Lechora Shabbat. May the one bless our ancestors, bless Judy came up today to show reverence for God, the Torah, and the Sabbath. Let us say,
Amen.
take a moment for healing. I've recently added to our list Barbara Cohn, Stevie Zinman, Jess Wallenmeyer, Fran Krakow, Bitsy Weintraub, Ira Adler, Rhoda Quincy, Deborah Sarah, Mark Weiss. Keeping our prayers, the 100 hostages still in Gaza for 435 days. I'd like to ask anyone in the room who wants to add a name for healing. You? Selma? Thank you so much. Thank you.
Barbara Cohn.
Thank you. We're on 253 for the healing prayer. Please rise physically or spiritually. Hold hands in palms as you feel comfortable.
Misheberach
Avotenu mikol habracha limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mikol habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. We remain standing at foot of 252, Zot Torah.
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, העולם עומד. על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, העולם
Doesn't look like there's any.
עומד. על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות
שלושה דברים, השלושה דברים, השלושה דברים, העולם, amen.
Why, Rabbi, that is the most helpful Torah stand I've ever seen.
Rabbis make any excuse to get close to the Torah, right? Eitz chaim lemachazikim ba, right? Those that hold fast to it, please
Indeed.
be seated. Our Haftarah you can find on page 241. We're doing the first few verses of the portion of Hosea, chapter 11, verses 7 through 11. And, of course, before we had the struggle between Jacob and the other entity, which he's struggling with, and this is the struggle between the Jewish people and God writ large in the book of Hosea.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nevi'im tovim v'ratza v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah ובמשה עבדו, ובישראל עמו, ובנביאי האמת והצדק. ואמית אלוהים למשובתי, ואל על יקראו יחד לא ירומם. אתנך אפרים, המגנך ישראל, אין אתנך כאדמה, אשימך כצבועים, נפח עלי ליבי יחד, נחמרו ניחומי. לא אעשה חרון אפי, לא אשוב לשחט אפרים, כי אל אנוכי ולא איש בקרבך קדוש, ולא אבוא בעיר. אחרי אדוני ילכו כאריה ישאג, כי הוא ישאג, ויחרדו בנים מים, יחרדו כציפור ממצרים, וכיונה מארץ אשור. והושבתים על בתיהם נאום אדוני. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, צור כל העולמים, צדיק בכל הדורות, האל הנאמן העומד ועושה, המדבר ומקיים, שכל דבריו אמת וצדק. על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ועל יום השבת הזה שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו, לקדושה ולמנוחה, לכבוד ולתפארת. על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך. יפרח שמך בפי כל חי, תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדיש השבת.
Amen. Shkoyach.
If you would like to learn how to chant Torah or Haftarah, or perhaps High Holy Day Torah, or even maybe the Book of Esther, in the spring I'm going to be teaching, right after Shabbat morning services, a trope class for you to learn how to chant. So I hope you'll join me for that.
All right, come on, people. You can't say no to that offer. 256, please rise. Yeah, you are.
For those online, that was
Fair,
my wife saying,
fair.
I can't.
Yeah, you're like the one person in the room who can be like, no. 256.
Yeah, hallelujah, Shem Adonai, ki niskav shemo levado. Hodo al eretz v'shamayim, vayarem keren v'yamo, tehila lecho chasidav, livnei Yisrael am karovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Ki lekach tov na'tarti lachem torati al ta'azovu. Eitz chaim hi l'machazikim ba v'tomcheha me'ushar racheha tavkei noam v'chol netivoteha shalom hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva Kadesh, Kadesh Yameinu, Kadesh Yameinu, Kekedem. Please be seated. So, I don't know if this is a real thing. I don't know if anybody has ever heard of this. But we were, I was joking, we're going to read less Torah so that we can study more Torah. So I don't know if this is legend, but there are some folks who, they just want to spend all their time studying, right? Particularly studying Talmud, right, in yeshiva. And so I'm told, right, that they would go into prayer services, which in their head were a waste of time because it took them away from Talmud, that they would have their prayer book, and hidden inside, it's not like in high school where you would have like a comic book, right, hidden inside the prayer book would be whatever volume of Talmud they were studying, right? So they could pretend they were praying, but just getting a little bit more Talmud, even in the middle of the other thing. So I saw some nods, like that's enough for me. That's enough data for me to say, yes, that's definitely a thing. Okay, so last week, who did we meet? Does anybody remember in the Talmud? Eliezer ben Hyrcanus, exactly. We met Eliezer ben Hyrcanus. We were told that about him it is said, he's a bor sud. He is a plastered cistern, doesn't lose a drop. And we were talking about water, right, and how the metaphor of water came up. Does anybody remember in particular where water came up with Eliezer ben Hyrcanus? Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Elizabeth. You did the international gesture for tears. Yes. So, yeah, he was crying all over that text, right? I always thought the paper that we were studying was going to be moist by the end of it, right? Right? Why are you crying? He was asked by his father, by his teachers, right? By the prophet Elijah, I think, at one point. So, it's interesting that water was flowing through that whole text, and we only got a little bit of his origin story, right? He started trying to cultivate that stony ground on his father's farm. He ended up with Yochanan ben Zakkai, one of the most famous rabbis in the Talmud, who rebooted Judaism after the temple was destroyed. But this week, we're going to deal with Rabbi Akiva. Now remember, just a sidebar, one of the reasons we're doing this is because that's what Jews do, we study. And the other thing is that Project Zug is something that the synagogue pays for access to. So what happens if you
you just enjoy studying this stuff, then they can assess what level of knowledge you have and fix you up with teachers and other students to learn with. So more about that later. So this week, Rabbi Akiva. Now, more people have heard about Rabbi Akiva than Eliezer ben Hyrcanus. He's much more well known. But he's certainly, reputation has him described as someone who's much more creative and dynamic, right, compared to someone like Eliezer ben Hyrcanus, who's a plastered cistern, doesn't lose a drop. In other words, you know, he kind of takes whatever he's been given previously by his teachers and almost like regurgitates it. That's maybe his unfair reputation. Rabbi Akiva is meant to be much more dynamic. We're going to study two texts, one short, one long. The short one is very strange in that it challenges the whole concept of being a rabbi. So I want you to take one of these. There should be enough. If not, just one between two. Myra, you can say no to the trope class. You can't say no to studying now, okay? We don't have that kind of relationship. All right. So that's right. Come on, let's move. Let's do it. We want to study. All right, that's great. This side's good, Chris? Okay. Yeah, Sue-Ann, you got? Okay, great. All right, so if you were going to describe how Jews view rabbis in general, I'm not talking specifically about Rabbi Tom or Rabbi Malcolm, okay? No need to get into that. But like in general, in the wider sense, like how do Jews view rabbis? Like how do the Jewish people view them? Yeah.
Symbolic exemplar.
Oh, gosh. No pressure. Yeah. Well, yeah, how do we see them?
Somebody who thinks inside the box with whom you can never win an argument.
Someone who thinks inside the box with whom you can never win an argument. I love it. Sorry? Oh, yeah, it's fine. I'm just going to repeat. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. What other attitudes do we have towards rabbis?
I have to disagree that inside the box is your thinking.
Right.
Both times.
You disagree, right, you disagree that some rabbis you've met have thinking outside the box.
Well, certainly you and Tom.
Right, okay.
Outside the box.
All right. Okay, great. I appreciate the compliment.
We can never win the argument.
You can, but you still, right, the second part, what Selma said, you can never win the argument, that holds. Okay, yes, Rivki. Okay, Rabbi helps you on your journey for learning. Great. Yeah, Marsha?
I was going to say a rabbi is a teacher and he's someone to be respected, revered.
Right, teacher, respected, revered. Okay. All right, great. So, by the way, Rabbi Akiva, at least in this first text, violently disagrees with you. All right? If you look, yeah, please, Tom.
So I gave a sermon in this, and I'll share with you privately, afterwards if you want.
Yeah, this is actually good for a microphone. Yeah. If this is,
No,
yeah.
but it's very quick. So I gave a sermon, and one of our members of Temple Emmanuel at the time was very insulted, wrote me a letter, "Do you think you're holier than thou?" And I responded to her, "Yes."
Well, damn. Okay.
Well, in this context, I was.
Oh, in this context, right. No need to reveal the specific context. Okay. So we got a section. So in terms of Rabbi Akiva, we're talking about like the 2nd century of the first millennium of the Common Era. Yeah. So and go on, Elizabeth.
Give me a year, 2nd century.
Yeah, 2nd century. So the year 100 through 150. Yeah. All right.
So
Back Bar Kokhba, so it must have been around 170 CE.
Bar Kokhba was 132. Yeah, the rebellion. That's why so Rabbi Akiva's involved in, in and around the Bar Kokhba rebellion, so that's why I'm placing him in the middle of that, right, first half, middle of that century. So we've got a section from the Talmud, right? It's the most important rabbinic book, compiled around about the year 600 for the Babylonian Talmud. Rabbi Akiva said, when I was a lay person, the Hebrew is Am Haaretz. By the way, key terms, this is the Project Zug handout. Key terms are often described and explained in the margin, right? Super helpful stuff. So if you study with Project Zug, you get all this extra scaffolding and help. So we've got the rabbis on one hand, and we've got the Am Haaretz, which is like the lay person, sometimes translated as like an ignoramus, depending on the context. Rabbis and Am Haaretz, lay people, right? He's casting aspersions, right? Not on lay people, he says. I used to say, who will bring me a rabbi? This is before he was a rabbi. So I can bite them like a donkey. Okay? Right? His students said to him, Rabbi, you should say like a dog. All right? It still doesn't seem much better. But then he said to them, this one, a donkey bites and breaks a bone. This one, a dog bites and does not break a bone. Right? So it's like the donkey's like a more... Don't turn over. Don't turn over. All right? So the donkey is like a more vicious bite. All right? So Rabbi Akiva was looking back on his early life and saying, when I was an Am Haaretz, like a non-rabbi, just like a regular guy, I would say, bring me a rabbi so that I can bite them like a donkey, right? Why would he say that? Why would he say it? Anyway, we're speculating. There's no right answer. I'm just interested in your speculations. Yes?
To argue against the rabbi's arguments for God.
Say one more time.
So if he wants to break the rabbi like a bone.
Yeah, he wants to bite the rabbi, yeah.
Okay, so that means breaking the rabbi's connection to God.
Okay, breaking the rabbi's connection to God. So it's not meant to be taken literally, not literally bite him like a donkey. Okay, got it. Okay.
But you have to break the theological arguments.
Oh, okay. Break the theological argument. So, like, I'm an Am Haaretz, I'm a lay person, but it doesn't mean I can't go up against a rabbi in a theological argument and win out.
Right.
Okay, great. Lovely. Yeah, what else? Why is he saying
I think it's a sign of disrespect.
this sign of disrespect? Okay. Yeah. By the way, who wrote the Talmud?
Rabbis.
Right, so why would this be in here? A story about someone saying they want to hurt a rabbi, or at least challenge them. So why is this story even in the Talmud, the book which is written by rabbis? Yes, Celia?
He had different views. He had his own, actually, he completely rebelled against all the rabbis.
Right.
And he wanted to do his own stuff.
Right. Oh, okay. So it's not right. So it's that Rabbi Akiva, because I mentioned at the beginning that he's, creative, thinks differently. So this is just an illustration of that, right? He is in opposition, or at least tension, right, with the rabbis, right? He sees things differently. Okay. Yeah, any other areas? Like, why would this even be in this?
I'm just going to tack on to that. He has disdain for them. Like, how dare they have an opinion that's different than me? Like, I can't believe the stupid things that are coming out of their mouths.
Right. Can't believe they got a different opinion. Can't believe the stupid things that are coming out of their mouth. Right. Great. Yeah.
Rabbi Akiva was pretty dumb. And,
He's pretty what?
dumb.
Pretty dumb.
I mean, that's part of the story. He wasn't.
Right. He's just an idiot. Right. He's like when I was an Am Haaretz, right? So it's just that he's a coarse person when he's looking back on that stage of his life, right? Had a lot of trouble learning everything. Right. So in that early stage of his being, right, that's how we would see rabbis, those high, mighty, hoity-toity, arty-farty, right, rabbi. Okay, great.
We don't know the rest of the story yet, but
Well, I saw you turn over the sheet, Elizabeth. No, it's fine. It was a different text.
if it's included in the Talmud afterwards, right, could it be included to teach rabbis about what lay people might be thinking about?
Got it. All right, fantastic. Yeah. So it could be in the Talmud because rabbis, they might be in the ivory tower, Right? Otherwise, how would they know what the Amei Haaretz are thinking about them? Great. Yes, Margie.
There's a comedian named Modi, and he does this famous, iconic skit where he says,
So who does?
Modi is a comedian,
Yeah, Modi, comedian. Yeah.
and he has this part where he says, Ashkenazim, no wait, Sephardim will say, the rabbi, he's so wise, and he's so...
Sephardim will say, the rabbi is so wise. I'm just repeating with the people at home, yeah.
And then he said, I like his accents, I can't do it. And then he'd go to an Ashkenazi and would say, that blank, that sermon was lame.
So the Ashkenazim would have more of a pop at the rabbi.
He just looks at different people.
Right, so when I ask what's the attitude towards rabbi, it depends what kind of person, right? Or where they are in the Jewish people. Great, I love it, I love it. By the way, Rabbi Akiva is the one telling the story. So why is Rabbi Akiva specifically telling the story? Right? Out of all the stories he could tell, right? It's not just another rabbi telling the story about Rabbi Akiva. It's Rabbi Akiva telling a story about himself. So why is he the one telling the story? Why would he include the story? I said why include it in the town, but why Rabbi Akiva tells the story himself? Yeah.
Well, because eventually he becomes enlightened and educated, and I don't like the term that he's ignorant. He was uneducated. Maybe I don't know the midrash relating to him being, really a lowlife, but he's more of an uneducated person who was not educated and came to his studies late. So maybe it's a way of him saying that it's never too late.
Got it. Okay, got it.
And you can always become more enlightened.
Okay, so you're picking up on the fact that you know a story out there about Rabbi Akiva starting his studies late. So he's trying to tell the story to show people it's never too late, right? You can get it. By the way, the person who is sending me private messages, let me know if you want me to share this stuff with folks, okay? All right, because I don't want to reveal otherwise. Okay, great. So, all right, we've had this weird story. It's Rabbi Akiva telling a story about his early life and how he had this negative attitude towards rabbis. So now we're going to go on and look at his origin story in a little bit more detail, like we looked at Rabbi Eliezer's. So if you look at the bottom of page 2 of 7, all right, so this section from Avot, the Rabbi Natan. So Pirkei Avot, right? You know lots of stuff from Pirkei Avot, right? The world's built on 3 things, right? Thank you, right? Right, on learning, on service, on acts of loving kindness. It's not for us to finish the work, neither should we desist from it. Lo alecha hamla, right? If I'm not for myself, right? So this is a text which is much later than that text, around about the year 650 through 950, somewhere around there. It's a commentary on Pirkei Avot, all right? But in it, we hear about the origins of Rabbi Akiva. So if you look at the bottom, a few lines below, about he was 40 years old, on page 2. So, and by the way, Susan said, rabbis, attitude towards rabbis, or the view of them, they visit the sick. Right? Okay, I'm not going to share that. Okay. Doesn't reflect well on me. Some rabbis are asses, okay? All right? Okay, good. So, we're looking at comments about rabbis at the bottom of page 2. Just 2 comments that we deal with. Become dirty in the dust of their feet. This is Rabbi Eliezer. Right? I'm not sure what that means. Does it mean sit at their feet and drink in their words? I'm not sure. But it doesn't really matter for our purposes because we care more about Rabbi Akiva. And drink their words thirstily. This is Rabbi Akiva. Right? So, what kind of person does drink their words thirstily describe? If you are drinking someone's words thirstily, what characteristics would you attribute to that person? Yes, Andy.
Well, certainly somebody who is parched educationally, and so they need to have a lot of stuff. So when
they need to be good educationally.
Well, they need to take it all in so that they can digest it, because they've got a void inside. They don't have that education to have lifted them up. Now they need to lift themselves up through words of others.
Students of Torah
Students of
and need to lift them up to themselves up to listen to words of others. Got it.
Right. So that
When it's said about Rabbi Akiva that you should drink in his words thirstily,
yes, that his words are, he's learned from the words of others. Everybody learns, we all learn from others.
yeah, we all learn from others,
We
yeah,
all learn from ourselves.
right,
We always learn from others.
yeah,
And the more learned our teachers,
right.
the more thirsty we are.
Okay, the more learned our teachers, the more thirsty we are to take their words in.
Yes.
Got it. Okay, lovely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Rifki. Right. Anxious to learn, starving to learn, right? There's a real chalashing, right? Is the Yiddish word. Chalashing. No? No one else? When you chalash for something, you really desperately want it. That is just me, it turns out. Blank stares everywhere. Okay, fine. All right. Oh, no, I'm doubting myself. Okay. All right, but you really want that to take that learning on. Okay, great. So, that sounds, right, that's interesting, right? This is the guy who in the previous text said he hates rabbis, and now, about him, we are saying, drinking in his words thirstily. Okay, so if you go to page 3 and section 2, right, they said, he was 40 years old, that's what Judy was saying, still had not recited anything, right? So, Arba'im Shana, 40 years old, Velo Shana Klum, right? You can hear the same word, right? So a year is Shana, and he recited is Shana in the past tense. So the word for year is also the word for recited or repeated, sometimes change, okay? Once he was standing next to the well, he said, who engraved this stone? Right? There's a groove in the stone in the well. They told him, is it not the water which continually falls upon it every day? They said to him, Akiva, do you not read? The waters wear the stones, right? How would that make Akiva feel when he's 40 years old? They say to him, right? He's like, wait a minute, why has the stone got a groove in it? And they're like, you idiot, right? Like, it's obviously the water from the well is the thing that, right, makes the groove in the stone, right? How's Akiva going to feel at that point? Embarrassed, yeah. Yeah, it's going to feel really bad, really small. Okay? Right, just think of a time where everyone else was in the know, right? But you were the one person who didn't get it, right? Makes you feel tiny and insignificant. So number 3, immediately Rabbi Akiva applied a kal v'chomer, right? So kal v'chomer is a technical term which means taking something from an inconsequential situation and applying it to a much more important one. To himself, he applied it to himself. Just as the soft engraves the hard, words of Torah which are hard like iron, how much more so shall they engrave my heart, which is flesh and blood? Okay, what does this say about? Let's just repeat that so we understand it. Just as a soft engraves the hard, words of Torah which are hard like iron, okay, which are hard like iron, how much more so shall they engrave my heart, which is flesh, right? From online, Susan, someone who drinks and studies their words, they also pay attention to others. Even when you're in a learning drought, you can drink the words of others. And how must it have made him feel? He must have felt like last week's rabbi, Eliezer ben Hyrcanus. Okay, great. So, all right. So what does it say about Rabbi Akiva? Right? He's saying about the well, just as the soft engraves the hard, words of Torah, which are hard like iron, how much more so shall they engrave my heart, which is flesh and blood? What kind of person is he on the basis of him saying that? Right? We're trying to get to know Rabbi Akiva, just trying to have a relationship with him and see the kind of person he is. Yes, Celia? Discovered something new he'd never thought of before. Okay, great. Anything else? What else are we going to say about him? Like, based on this, right? Just as a soft engraves the hard, words of Torah which are hard like iron, how much more so shall they engrave my heart, which is flesh and blood? Right? What kind of person is he on the basis of that statement? Right. He really wants to learn. Yeah? He's determined. Yeah? Okay, great. By the way,
he notices that the water makes a groove in the stone. Okay? You've got to really think about it. Stop and think and notice something, right? Many times Rabbi Akiva's compared to Moses. What's Moses' stopping and noticing? The what? Not the rock, the burning bush, right? He goes like the bush is burning but not consumed. Okay? So there's a bunch of places in Jewish tradition where Moses and Akiva are compared. Okay? So here, just like Moses notices the bush, Akiva notices this stone. All right, number 4. Immediately he returned to learn Torah. He and his son went sat in the place where children are taught. Melamdei tinukot. A tinok is a baby, right? It's like kindergarten, right? He's 40 years old and he goes to kindergarten with his son. He said to him, Akiva says to the teacher, "My master, teach me Torah." What's that Adam Sandler film where he's like in a kindergarten class as a fully grown adult? Billy Madison. Thank you, Zachary. Right? Good, excellent cultural knowledge. Okay. There's a terrible comedy film where the fully grown guy sits in a kindergarten class and it's like weird. All right? So that's the same thing here, right? What's that like old dude with a beard, okay, sitting in our kindergarten class, like the kids are saying to each other? That's a little bit strange. But he says to his teacher, "My master, teach me Torah." Right? The other kids are like, "I just want a juice box." Like, what's going on here, right? Rabbi Akiva and his son grabbed the top of the board and he wrote for him Aleph Bet and learned it. Aleph Tav, and he learned it. Before we get to the next thing, Aleph Tav. So he learns Aleph Bet and then he learns Aleph Tav. Just tell me a bit about that progression. Like, what's significant? Aleph and Bet, the first 2 letters, right? Tav is what? The last one. So, is what? Right, so absolutely. So Alpha through Omega, right? Aleph through Tav, yeah, is another way for saying learn everything, right? Okay. Torat Kohanim, and he learned it. The teaching of the priests. What's that? No, it's teaching of the priest that he's learning. What is that? Yes, Leviticus, right? Or a version thereof. And he learned it. He continued to learn until he learned all of the Torah. Okay? We don't really know what that means. Okay? Does it mean he knows everything there is to know about the 5 books? Or is it a much wider thing? Right. What do you think this experience makes Akiva feel like? What do you think it makes him feel like? The thing that's just described. Yes? Empowered. Okay? He's like, I'm on a roll. Let's do this. Right? Okay? It feels good. Yes, Selma. Right, he feels humble. Yeah, why?
Because he's sitting with children, but
right.
Still he can learn from the very basics.
Right, they're learning so he's learning things from the very basics, right? You would hope it gives him a bit of humility, right? I'm more cynical than you are, Selma. I'm like, part of me thinks he's in like this kindergarten class and he's racing through, right, to the end of the alphabet, and the kids are like, wow, and he's like, yeah, I'm good, right? It's like when my kids were 6 or 7, I played soccer with them, right? And I'd hand them off, right, to tackle them and make myself look big, right? I like your interpretation better. Okay, Michaela, yeah.
That happens to Billy Madison, too.
Happens to Billy Madison, really? He plays sports and he really, you shove the kids around. Right, okay, nice. Yes, Cantor.
Also, I feel like that's a commentary on the fact that, clergy learn from their students and from their congregants, too.
Got it, okay. Right, clergy learn from their students, from their congregants, too. Fantastic. Okay, great. So if you turn over to page 4, all right, section 5. So he's done with kindergarten, right? He graduated, all right? Now, by the way, anybody who thinks it's ridiculous to graduate from kindergarten, there's never been a parent seeing their kid graduate from kindergarten. And the parent, I'm like, pre-K, my kid had a graduation ceremony. And I was like, this is stupid. They don't deserve, this big deal graduation. I had tears rolling down my face, okay? Susan says he might feel like Moses, who allegedly wrote the Torah. Tav really means tov, and that's how he feels. It really means good. That's how he feels. Fantastic. Okay, great. Thank you, Susan. Right? So he went and sat. Now he's moved on. He went and sat before Rabbi Eliezer. and before Rabbi Yehoshua. There's our friend Eliezer. It's Eliezer ben Hyrcanus. Whenever you see Rabbi Eliezer in the Talmud, it means Rabbi Eliezer ben Hyrcanus. Some rabbis are so famous, right, you only need their first, like Madonna, right? We know who that is. We don't need her second name, right? So same with Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Joshua. So he went to them, and he said to them, my masters opened for me a taste of Mishnah, right? Ta'am, that word we had last week, right? Remember when Rabbi Eliezer totally lost his taste? Right, it's the same word, ta'am, okay? My masters opened for me a taste of Mishnah, all right? So that's like the earlier layer of the Talmud. It's pretty basic, okay? When they told him one halakha, one law, he went and sat alone and said, this aleph, why was it written? This bet, why was it written? This word, why was it said? He came back and asked them and reduced them to silence, okay? So how did all this process make him feel? How did it make his teachers feel? He has questions, right, which he's asking for himself. And then he asked them from his teachers, and they got nothing, right? Yeah, I saw you moving your mouth. It's just because you're out my peripheral vision. Go on up.
He's understanding that he knows more than others, that he's bringing more to the table than what was given to him.
Right, feels like he's bringing more to the table than just his teachers are giving to him. Gretchen, what are you saying?
I was thinking of, I'm sorry, I'm having
No, it's okay. We can come back to you. Just wave. And I saw Celia and then Cantor. You were saying...
I just said angry when the
Okay, you're agreeing with that. Okay, all right, great.
I'm saying, just like, I'm thinking, when you see something with fresh eyes, you ask more questions and you think about things that other people would take for granted.
Right.
When you think of, like, as an adult, sitting in on an Intro to Judaism class, I
Right.
learned things that I never thought to think about.
Right, okay, great. Yeah, go on, Gretchen, you remembered?
Yes, Einstein.
Einstein, yeah.
Yeah, he was an extremely intelligent man, and this is the way he would do things.
Yeah. If you've ever read it, absolutely, Gretchen, I think that's fantastic you brought that up. If you ever read a biography of Einstein and that ridiculous year, 1904, when he came up with 4 incredible, mind-boggling papers, right? The theory of relativity was proven later, but he came up with it just by sitting and thinking, right? It was originally a thought experiment, which is astounding, okay? So the same with Akiva here, right? He's just working out for himself. You know, I've said to you many, many times, Jewish study is not really meant to be done in reverent silence, right? But he's actually doing that, but because usually when you work with other people, it elicits more information and more insights, right? The out loud, messy version of study which Jews do with each other in Chavruta, with study buddies or otherwise, but he's not doing that, right? He gets it himself. He's working out himself, right? He's like reconfiguring everything in his brain, which is really, really incredible. Einstein didn't speak until he was 5, if I remember correctly, Susan says. Okay, brilliant. All right, so, lovely parallel. We got Moses, we got Akiva, we got Albert. All right, number 6, Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, right? So he's not as famous as the other guys, but he lives in the same period of time, right? In that, round about the middle of that second century of the first millennium. Says, I will make a parable, right? So we're going to read this parable. It's just a few lines long. I want you to work out, right, what he means by the parable, who he's actually talking about. What is this similar to? Right? Mashal, lamada vadomeh, right? That's the technical term for a mashal. A mashal is a parable, right? What is this similar to? And you've got to unpack the parable. To a stone cutter, you've got to work out who is who in this metaphor, right? To the stone cutter who was hacking away in the mountains. One time, he took up his pickaxe and went and sat on the mountain and began to chip tiny pebbles from it. Now some men came by, right? Who's the stone cutter? Who's the men? Who the mountain? Now some men came by and asked him, what are you doing? I'm uprooting the mountain, he replied, and shall cast it into the Jordan. You can't uproot a whole mountain, they said to him, but he continued hacking away until he hit upon a big rock. He crawled under it, broke it loose and uprooted it and cast it into the Jordan. He said to it, this is not your place, rather this place. Okay, let's break down so a mashal is a parable. So the nimshal is the breaking down, the unpacking of the parable. So what's the nimshal? Let's break it down. What, like mountain, the stonecutter, the men, who are they in this parable? Mountain's Torah. Okay, cool. Right. Who's the stonecutter? Right, Kiva. Could be a Kiva, right? Yeah. Yeah. And who are the other men? Who are like, you can't do that. The other rabbis, right? Yeah, it's possible, right? We had a couple of metaphors, right? We've had the water grinding down or grooving a groove in the stone. Now we've got the hacking away of rock, right? Just think about how the metaphors are changing. And so who is Akiva on this basis, right, of the way he's described in this? Let's assume he's the stonecutter, right? Who is he on that basis, right? What kind of rabbi is he? What kind of scholar is he, according to the parable? Yes, Elizabeth.
Well, there's an interesting, he was hacking away, and then he went to chip at tiny pebbles.
Right.
And it seems to relate back to where, like, he went and looked at every aleph and every bet.
Right, okay, love it. So I'm just going to, for the people at home, so he starts hacking away, but the chipping at tiny pebbles you're suggesting, right, is looking at every single little detail, every aleph, every bet. Okay, great. And what were you also going to say?
Well, no, that was it. So
That was it. That's great. Fantastic.
approaching things at, like, this really micro level instead of at this big level.
Right, yeah. So you're getting really down to the nitty-gritty, right, instead of necessarily having that big picture. Okay, yeah. Okay, anyone else? Like, yeah.
Well, he's cutting away at the Torah, and he's very creative, and he's coming up with a new idea to what the passage really means that
Right.
nobody else has thought of.
Right, coming up with new ideas, right, for the Torah that nobody else has thought of. I saw Cantor and I saw Margie.
Yeah, I'm just like a little bit confused about what this might mean. Telling said rock that this is not your place, rather this place. In the
It's
Jordan.
quite a bold statement,
It
right?
really
This is not
is.
your place, this is your place, right? If we were saying that the stonecutter is Akiva and the rock is Torah, so what does that make you feel, as it were?
Confuzzled.
Yeah. Confuddled. That's a mixture between confused and befuddled, which is like taking things up a notch. Right.
So place in Hebrew is makom, and it's another name for God.
Right, it's a rabbinic name for God.
One of the things this could be saying is, you think God is here? No, actually, God is here. You're beginning at the wrong place.
You're beginning the wrong place. God is actually here, not there. Okay, great. Susan says the pebbles are his thoughts and the big rocks are the culmination of his thoughts. Fantastic. Love it. Margie, and then Selma.
When was Avot written? Like after this?
Avot is, so this is a commentary on Avot. Avot itself is written much closer to when Akiva lived. Okay? So this commentary is written several hundred years after Avot came into being.
So they're looking back at how the Talmud was being formed, because Rabbi Akiva didn't have the Talmud to refer to.
No, Rabbi Akiva doesn't know that he's in the Talmud, right? Yeah, it's like it's happening around him. Yeah.
So I think it's
Yeah.
I just like that.
Yeah, I mean, he's building, he's making the Talmud, right? He's part of the conversations that end up being the Talmud. Yes, I saw Selma and then Zachary.
The mountain is the world, the secular world, but
The mountain's the secular world.
Jordan is the Torah, and he wants to put the secular world into the Torah.
Right, he wants to take from the secular world and put it in the Torah. Beautiful, Selma, lovely. Zachary.
He's like the ultimate Baal Tshuva.
He's the ultimate Baal Teshuvah, the ultimate person who doesn't grow up, right, really within Judaism, but when he returns, so master of return, the person who's like a born-again Jew, right, who gets really, really, really into it.
Yeah, it reminded me of the story of the king who picks the Baal Tshuva over the tzaddik, because the Baal Tshuva is in the room and just takes the sip of the wine and then puts it back, but the tzaddik's never even touched it.
Oh, okay, wait a minute. We're going to need to break that down. So you're talking about, I need to explain. So you're talking about a story of the king, and the king chooses the person who gets back into Judaism after a long while over the tzaddik, who's like the perfect learned person. And he does it because the Baal Teshuvah, the born-again person, takes a sip of the wine and puts it back. Okay?
Yeah, the king puts all three people in a room overnight with his prized wine.
Oh, puts them in a room overnight with his prized wine. Okay.
The first one drinks all the wine.
Okay.
The second doesn't touch it. But the third, the Baal Shuvah, opens it, smells it, takes one sip, and then puts it back. And that's more reliable to the king than the one who never touched it at all.
Okay. So there's like, so the one who just takes a little bit of the wine and puts it back, right? Not completely overdoing it, right? Like the person who guzzled it all. And not like the tzaddik who like wouldn't want to even be anywhere near it. So this person is more real. Okay, great. All right. Similar to this week's parsha, Susan says, when Jacob wakes up and says, God was here and I didn't know. Okay, nice, right? In this place, not right. Similar as in big rock is big revelation. Okay. So like Rabbi Akiva, this is not like the description of Eliezer ben Hyrcanus from last week, right? The crybaby, right? Who's like, I want to learn Torah. It's like, and who's very halting in getting into the flow of being a teacher of Torah. This is Akiva. He's like, boom, right? I'm going to take huge, big rocks and take them from one place to another, having chipped away at them and then, got further and further. He's like reconfiguring everything, right? He's messing with the whole universe of Torah. Okay. I know, right? So, number 7. Rabbi Tarfon said to him, Akiva, about you, Scripture says, he binds the streams so they do not trickle. Binds, the word is chivesh in the original. It's like damming, right? He stops up the streams so they do not trickle. And the thing that is hidden, he brings forth to light. The thing that is hidden, he brings forth to light. We've got a new metaphor now, right? Come on. I had the well with the water, then I had the rock and the mountain, and now I've got bringing forth light. By the way, at the beginning of the text, the person talking to him about the well was quoting from the book of Job. And Akiva was like, what? Now, in this text, just a few lines later, they're quoting Job to talk about Rabbi Akiva, right? When a few lines ago, he didn't even know what Job was. And now they're using Job, a book in the Bible, to describe him, right? How the mighty have risen. Okay. So it says about him, things hidden from people, Rabbi Akiva brought forth. All right. So real compliments to Rabbi Akiva. It's a very, very, very quick rise. Yes, Cantor.
Just thinking about that big rock was hidden inside of the mountain that he has been chipping away at. And now that rock, be it Torah or text, has been thrown into this stream to which water was just passing through, and now it has been stopped.
Right.
And now it has been moved from a place that is difficult to find to now a place where it can be accessed by all.
Right.
When the water was passing through, people could pass by Torah or pass by these gems of knowledge without ever noticing them.
Right.
And here, finally, the water has stopped. You can see what's there down below.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because you're reading it so that, so it's revealing more because the water's stopping because of that huge rock, right, that Akiva's put in there, right? He's making people notice. Is that what you're saying? These gems of Torah that otherwise were just passing by, flowing by?
It's interesting. I wasn't thinking about the rock being what stops the dam. I was thinking about the rock being like right there in the stream for all to view in the midst of what was a passing stream.
No, I appreciate it because I'm thinking like he's messing with the whole system, right? He's putting a big old rock in the middle of it, right? You're saying it's helpful. I'm saying it's helpful, but it's like it's also shaking things up. It's all good. Okay, great. So the home straight of the text, go to page 5. It says 5 of 7 at the bottom right. We're looking at section 8, yeah? So each day, this seems to be like a sidebar, but because we're trying to get to know Rabbi Akiva, like we did with Rabbi Eliezer, like what does it tell us about him, these sections, which seems to be a sidebar, but it gives us more of a picture of him. So each day Rabbi Akiva would gather a bundle of straw. Oh, I see. Yes, Susan says, and the big rock prevents uncontrollable rapids. Okay, nice. All right, we're building all this image together. So section 8, each day Rabbi Akiva would gather a bundle of straw. Part he would sell to provide for his food, part for his clothing. His neighbors rose up in protest and said to him, Akiva, you're killing us with the smoke. Sell the straw to us, and with the money buy oil, and recite by the light of a lamp. I feel many needs with it, he answered them. First I recite by its light, then again I keep warm by its heat, and finally I sleep on them. Okay? So why is he involved in this? He's a great scholar of Torah. Like, why does he do this? It's telling us something different about his life. This whole straw thing. Like, what's going on here? Well, up until now, it's been this guy who reconfigures all of the ideas about Torah. Now here he is, bundle of straw, getting into conflict with his neighbors. What's going on? What's this telling us about him? Yes.
Well, back in the day, rabbis did not get paid.
Right.
They had to have it.
Rabbis didn't, right. So he needs a day job. Okay, right? Rabbis didn't get paid.
That's one.
That's one, okay.
Two is he's saying, if you compare the Torah again back to the Torah, there's more than one thing you can get out of a passage of the Torah itself.
Got it, okay.
Multiple things.
Right, just so like he's deriving so many different things from the straw, right? So many different interpretations from even one word of Torah.
Right.
Okay, great. Yeah, lovely. All right. What else does it say about it? Yes, Michaela.
Well, it would be easy for him to sell the straw to his neighbors and have money to buy the lamp and have a more convenient life. He would rather, kind of do it the hard way.
Right, he'd rather do it the hard way, right? And they said to him, this is like a super easy way of doing this, right? And Akiva's like, yeah, that's not me. Okay, I'm gonna have the struggle, right? He's gonna sit in the kindergarten class and learn it. He's gonna sit with every single line of Torah and like learn it and relearn it, right? That's, okay, great, yeah. I think it adds something to the picture. And then
Isn't the straw the Torah?
is the straw the Torah? Okay, great.
Because the neighbors, like the rabbis, only had one way of looking at the way the Torah is, and he's like, they're complaining that he's smoking it, so they can't, that's bothering them. But when he burns it, he can study and he can recite by the light that it's providing him, and that the burning of the Torah, if you will, not burning it up, keeps him warm, keeps himself warm, and then he can sleep with it. So
Right.
he's doing a lot more with the Torah than other people can imagine.
Right, he's doing a lot more with the Torah than other people can imagine. He's using it, or he's living with it in all different manners and ways. Susan says he's living Torah day and night. Okay, right? So we don't. Yeah, a lot of you are saying it's not straw. I'm not talking about actual straw. Okay, but I like doing it the hard way. Section 9. In the future, Rabbi Akiva will make all the poor liable for judgment. For if he says to them, "Why did you not study?" and they say, "Because we were poor," they'll say to him, "It wasn't Rabbi Akiva even poorer in the more wretched circumstances," right? It's like, you can't complain you didn't study Torah because you were poor. Look, Rabbi Akiva is the poorest of the poor. And in another story, he doesn't sell straw, he sells mud. Okay? It's like, he's not a person of means, right? So don't tell us you're poor and you can't study Torah. Rabbi Akiva was poor. Look what he did, right? Wasn't Rabbi Akiva even poorer and even more wretched circumstance? If they say, because of our children, right? We need to, our children take up a lot of time, right? They'll say, did not Rabbi Akiva have sons and daughters? Rather, they say to them, because Rachel, his wife, had merit, right? So this is where Rachel comes into the picture, right? His wife. Other stories about the great woman that she was, how she allowed him, okay, to study Torah for many years, even away from home. Number 10, at the age of 40, he went to study Torah. At the end of 13 years, he taught Torah in public. At the age of 40, he starts to study Torah. And 13 years later, he teaches Torah in public. Yes?
He had his bar mitzvah.
Oh, he had his bar mitzvah. Okay. Right. Okay. Yeah, could be. Right. What else? How else would you say? What is this progression? He teaches Torah in public. Started learning, 13 years later, teaching it in public. What's the progression that we're talking about? What's such a big deal about teaching the Torah in public? If he knew it thoroughly, right? He's able to teach it in public. Great. What else could we say? Teaching Torah in public, what is that? What's the big deal?
Yeah. What are you thinking, folks? What's the big deal about teaching Torah in public? Why would that be important? Yes, Matt.
Well, when you're 13, you recite in front of the congregation.
Right. Oh, when you're 13, I see, you're in front of the congregation. Right. Okay, yeah, absolutely, in front of the congregation. And why is it a big deal, though, that it's in front of the congregation, that you're doing this in front of the congregation in public? Yes, Margie?
Used to be people on the land. He said, at the very beginning, who was he? He was, when I was Am Israel, before he was a rabbi.
Yeah, when I was a layperson.
When I was a layperson, and then someone commented that the big boulder was the Torah going out into the secular world. Maybe that was his goal.
Right, to get out there in the wider world, right? Okay, that was what his goal was all along. Right, possible. Yes, Michaela.
I think he is now going to be faced with donkey people.
He's going to be faced with what?
Donkey people.
With donkey people, right? With Amei Aretz, right? With the people, with the low lifes. Right, oh, I see. Right, so when you put yourself out there in public, right, you've got to deal with the great unwashed, right? And all of the things that come with them. Okay, right, okay. All right, great. The last section, right, you open yourself to criticism, right? Susan says, right? That's what you do when you're in public. Okay, also helpful. Great. Last section. They said before he departed from the world, he owned tables of silver and gold and mounted his couch on ladders of gold. His wife used to go about in golden sandals and a golden tiara. Rabbi, his disciples said to him, you put us to shame by what you've done for her. He said to them, many were the trials she endured for my sake, that I might study Torah. Now, yeah, you're just saying, you're really happy.
We're both in trouble.
I'm happy Sarah isn't here. You're happy Marsha isn't here for this particular study session.
This is where they should be here to pick up this teaching.
They should be here to pick up the teaching. Right, okay. So, yes, Rivki.
He went from poor
Yeah,
to super rich.
from poor to super rich, yes.
How?
Right. Sorry. How? Okay, you're just asking the question, how? Yeah. Yeah.
You don't get rich studying Torah.
Right. Well, you can, people might sponsor you to teach Torah, right? But yeah. And also, we don't know if it's, literally, this is obviously hyperbole, right? But the point is, he's not selling straw anymore, yeah? So, at the end of last week's session, we talked about the Eliezer ben Hyrcanus character arc, right? So let's talk about Akiva, right? Just tell me a bit about Akiva from a few minutes ago when we started this session and where we are now. Yeah? Tell me about Rabbi Akiva in terms of what you've heard. Huh? Yeah.
He was poor in monetarily, and then he became rich, and he was poor in knowledge, and then he became rich in knowledge.
Right. So from poor to rich, both in monetary terms and in terms of learning. Okay, great. What else do you want to say about Rabbi Akiva and how he develops over the course of the last few minutes, right, which was actually years of his life? What else do you want to say about Rabbi Akiva? Yeah.
He wanted to challenge all the other rabbis. He didn't agree with everything. He went the class of Akiva, so to speak.
Yeah.
And he wanted to build himself up so that he could do that and challenge them because they didn't like him.
Right. They felt threatened by him and he wanted to build himself up to be able to be in a position to challenge them. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, Elizabeth and then Rivki.
Well, and I don't know much about Rabbi Akiva, I admit. So I wonder, when I think about people who go from poor to rich,
Yeah.
become complacent. So did he continue to be a shaker-upper when you have
Right, okay, great. So Elizabeth's question is he still the shaker-upper, right, this move-mounted guy, when he's got comfortable, right, in his life with all this gold around him? Yeah, great. Is it possible even? Yeah, do you get complacent? Great, yes, Rivki.
I was thinking about admiring him for his discipline, starting from learning nothing, knowing nothing.
Right.
It takes a lot of discipline to study and get to the height of education and knowledge that he had.
Yeah. The discipline that he had to do to literally
right, chip away. He followed an arc similar to Rabbi Eliezer, but he started later, Susan suggests. So for me, I want you to, as we meet these rabbis, I want you to think about who you are, right? Are you this person who, from last week, Eliezer, right, who doesn't lose a drop? He's a plastered cistern. He takes everything that's gone before and never forgets any element of it, and he can serve it up at a moment's notice. Are you someone who challenges the system, right? Even shatters it, right? Reconfigures it, recalibrates it completely, right? Who are you in this story, okay? And if you're not one of these people, who, like, do you admire them, right? Do you feel threatened by them? Do you feel kindred spirit with them? All right. So Rabbi Elazar ben Arach is next week and is our final session of 3. And we're told, okay, oh gosh, we are told about Rabbi Elazar ben Arach that of all the students of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, he outweighs all of the others, right? So if you want to know what's so special about him, then come back next week. So if you, and one more thing, if you haven't got one of these, right, just to sign up to Project Zoo to get access to fantastic teachers, this material, and also other people to learn with, grab one of these. The synagogue specifically paid for access for members of Kol Hamid to get connected with all of this good stuff. And we are on page 282 for Aleinu. Would everyone please rise?
Aleinu leshabeach l'Adon hakol,
לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
יגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה.
Be seated for a moment just before Kaddish. Those who died in this past week include Marcia Legend, grandmother of Zachary, Arnold Brodsky, brother of Fred, Ted, Dan, Jean, Stuart and Cheryl, Ward Wallingford, husband of Judy. Those who died in the past month, Andrew J. Greenfield, Linda Garber, Mordechai Kolodner, Victor Womack, Mina Thompson, Bruce Dorfman and Franklin Nittickman. And those whose yahrzeits fall this week, Joe Aaron, Bertha Alderman, Frederick R. Arden, Morris Bergman, Murray Blackman, Richard Bloomfield, Rose Bober, Norman Braverman, Orville Buchanan, Sylvia Capin, Isidore Cavilla, Helen Charlson, Mariam Chiat, Jim David, William Davidson, Selma Davis, Lewis W. Davis, Don Faber, Florence Fischel, Ida Flyer, George Franklin, Maxine George, Esther Ginsberg, Robert Goldberg, Bernice Goldman, Joseph Halpern, Najwa Ghanem Harris, Bucky Hazen, Arthur Hirsch, Abraham Hornstein, Roger Horwitz, Betty Jeske, Norbert Kahn, Leah Kaplansky, Phyllis Kassman, Harry Keller, Mark Klafter, Herbert Krauser, Frieda Kuhn, Royal Larson, Naomi Leff, Robert Leffler, Albert Leibovitz, Frank Marcus, Andy McKnight, Irving Megdal, Charles Myers, Ira Miller, Carol Miller, Amelia Mitchell, Russell Moore, James Stephen Mueller, Joseph Meyerson, Sheldon Osabal, Theodore Panich, Dorothy Pitt, Mary Rappaport, Pearl Resnick, Sarah Rogovin, William Rubin, Samuel Saft, Rose Steinhardt Schiffman, Ella Schlossberg, Janice Shapiro, Muriel Silverstein, Frida Treister, Lou Volkovitz, David Walker, Jonathan Scott Warsaw, Lena Winnick, and Geraldine Zaretsky. Anyone in the room who wants to add a name for Kaddish which hasn't been said? Thank you. In that case, will everyone please rise to support the mourners. 294 we say, Yikadal v'yikadash shemer haba, Ba'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, V'chai echon uvyom echon uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei shemer haba mevarach le'olam olamei amaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yitada v'yitale v'yitalal shemei d'kudesha b'richu, Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata, Damiran ba'alma v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei shalom araba min shemaya, V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, Hu yaseh shalom, Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru.
Amen. Ve'imru, 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 amen. Ve'imru, 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 amen. We'll do Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafein. L'chaim. And a new car. No. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. B'te'avon.
Te'avon, 327, mixture of Hebrew and Ladino. Ein Keloheinu, let's sing. Sorry, that's me jumping the gun. That's not fair. Page 327.
Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadoneinu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, non como nuestro Dios, non como nuestro Señor, non como nuestro Rey, non como nuestro Salvador. Mi Eloheinu, mi Adonenu, mi Malkeinu, mi Moshienu, quien como nuestro Dios, quien como nuestro Señor, quien como nuestro Rey, quien como nuestro Salvador. No del Eloheinu, no del Adonenu, no del Malkeinu, no del Moshienu. Lo haremos a nuestro Dios, lo haremos a nuestro Señor, lo haremos a nuestro Rey, lo haremos a nuestro Salvador. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu. Bendito nuestro Dios, bendito nuestro Señor, bendito nuestro Rey, bendito nuestro
Salvador. Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. Tú sos nuestro Dios, tú sos nuestro Señor, tú sos nuestro Rey, tú sos nuestro Salvador. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.